buy back your time, it kind of takes the whole building a business and getting people to run it idea and like turns it around. Instead of hiring like I was doing before when I got busy, hiring for certain tasks and delegating to people. Because I even though I was delegating, I was still doing a lot of work managing those people and trying to like orchestrate and show them how to do everything. The busy work was off my plate at that point. I was still having to manage them. And so now I was taking on another role of training and managing constantly.
Welcome back to The Broke Billionaires, where we document our daily struggles in building wealth while raising a young family. Join us as we talk creative wealth building for everyday people and couples that are struggling in a down economy. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Joshua Masari, and we'll be your hosts.
Welcome back to another episode of The Broke Millionaires.
We're back after a few weeks off. It's been a little hard with the summer break. Kids out of school, moving, baby, everything that kind of went on this summer. So
kids are going to bed later.
Yes.
A lot later. Like way too late. We need to reel that in pretty quick. Baby's sleep schedule is pretty good, but still the going to bed is it's unpredictable.
We're
still
there, working on getting we moved, so we lost our recording studio, so we are building out a studio at the office building. So we will have that up hopefully in the coming weeks, and then we can start conducting our interviews again. Kids will be back in school, so we can start doing this stuff during the day. And things should get a lot.
Half our kids will be in school.
Half our kids, yeah.
Still have two more at home.
But yeah, that's true.
We had a nice family little mini getaway, which was so needed. Like so needed. That was so nice. I'm so happy we did that. Went out to La Quinta. We were able to utilize our points through home exchange, which is, have we talked about home exchange? We have. We've touched on it for sure.
Yeah.
So it was great. We just kind of looked up last minute vacations, and we had been looking how many weekends in a row, like maybe a month beforehand.
Yeah, there was weekends that were available, but we had stuff going on.
Yeah.
When we didn't have anything going on, they weren't available. And so last minute.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. You can set a filter for last minute bookings, and Thursday decided we were going and left the next day, and the kids had a blast. It was an awesome pool, fun house.
Right on the golf course where the PGA Tours plays.
Yeah.
It was actually right on the 18th, or I think it was between the first and the 18th hole, but it was a pretty cool scene.
And you may be thinking La Quinta in the summertime. Yes, it was also an excessive heat warning, so maybe not the best time to go, but we were in the pool the whole time and the kids could care less. We were like,
yeah, they had fun.
Yeah, it was really fun. Let's see. Other exciting updates.
And real quick on the exchange. So the way we do that, for a recap, is we utilize our vacant days in our MTR rentals. MT rentals, I guess MTR stands for rentals. But so when we have like a week gap between our bookings, we're not able to take short-term stays in our city. So we will put them on this home exchange platform, and people can stay nights in these properties, and we accumulate points for that. So we use those points for our vacations, and we have used it a couple times and not had to pay at all.
Yeah, we haven't paid for our vacation since the stay of it. Anyways, the lodging portion of it.
Yeah, it's been great.
It has been. In other exciting news, our family is officially complete, and we made that official this past weekend. Would you like to tell them what you did?
Not really. Yeah, so I am no longer able to have, well, actually, I shouldn't say that. Not able to have kids, but I will soon not be able to have kids.
Yeah, we didn't realize there's a waiting period after
Yes.
after the procedure is done.
So I had my vasectomy on Friday and am actually in more pain now than I was after the surgery.
Yes, you came out pretty high on some anxiety meds.
Yeah.
When you were done on Friday.
Yeah, I guess I was saying some pretty loopy things.
He was giving a lot of detail to our small children about how his procedure went. He also told them he was having the procedure so daddy can't have babies anymore, which caused a lot of confusion for our 5-year-old. And he said, but mommy's the one that has babies. So I had to cut that conversation real quick.
Yeah, I should not have been talking. The meds were not making me speak clearly, obviously. But yeah, so still recovering from that. And there's a lot of things I didn't know about this that nobody ever talks about.
Like what?
Going into it. Well, first of all, I didn't know that you were awake the whole time.
You didn't know that?
Not till like...
Really? I feel like a lot of people talk about that.
Yeah, but I didn't ever talk about that till very recently.
See, this is why this is a problem. Men don't talk to their friends the way women talk to our friends. Like, I would know the ins and outs of a procedure like that.
But it wasn't bad. The procedure wasn't bad. I actually handled it pretty well, probably because of the meds I was on. But
let me just, for reference on that, we both don't do well with needles. He's even worse than I am. You did manage to watch one of my epidurals, though. But if we're giving blood, you're passing out before I am.
Yeah, that's true.
So he doesn't do well in those. And he's kind of a hypochondriac, too. So he really works himself up pretty heavily.
That is also true. But I handled this one pretty well. So I actually watched part of the procedure and didn't.
Also told our children all about watching it and the details of it. I can't believe you watched it.
Yeah. Anyway, so one of the things that I did not know that no one ever talks about is when you have this procedure, I just figured it was, snip, then you're done and cuts everything off and you're good. And I knew you had to go back and check it to make sure it doesn't your body doesn't mend itself basically and put itself back together. But what I didn't realize is that there's a 3 to 4 month waiting period, not to make sure the procedure worked, but because you still have swimmers in your tube, they're still in your tube that's like just hanging out there, and they'll live up to 3 months. So you have to
still be careful.
Wait until they're all out.
So they test you. That's when they test you, is after that period.
Yeah. So the doctor prescribes you basically homework over the next 3 months, and then you go get it checked and make sure that it worked and that they're cleared out. And then you go back again just to double and triple check. And then you're good. But no one ever talks about the 3 months of like, oh no. You're not good. You got to go on for another 3 or 4 months before this is actually effective. So
yeah, learn something new every day.
Yeah, fun stuff.
Yeah, it's okay. I've pushed out 4 babies. I almost said 3 babies. Or you're taking one for the team on this one.
But the procedure wasn't bad. It wasn't expensive. Actually, insurance covered all of it, but it's not even that expensive to start with. I had no idea going into it. I think it was like $1,000 because I asked him, I was like, what would it, if I were just paying cash to have insurance? And it was like $1,000.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
It wasn't too bad, but it was like a 20, 25 minute procedure. It really wasn't that bad, but
it's good.
Now I'm just dealing with it.
You've been doing more too. I've been walking around.
I was just sitting on the couch icing for 3 days and started walking around a little bit yesterday, and then back at the office today, and now I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
Definitely black and blue all over. Didn't know about that. We just want to get real raw and really talk about the things that nobody talks about. I was not expecting that. Anyway, as I'm sitting here with a ice pack.
Bag of peas.
The peas work pretty good.
Yeah. Told you they would.
Yeah, not bad.
Speaking of the office, you have some changes coming to your office situation. Your
Yep.
business.
So we're building out a studio at the office and kind of rearranging it. So we're going to start recording. We did have a home studio and we lost the home studio when we moved. So the place that we're in now just doesn't have the space. So we'll be building out an actual studio where we can conduct interviews and we'll do all of our recordings there. That should be ready hopefully in the next few weeks. So that's good. And I also set up a kind of a little workout area at my office in one section that had some extra space. We had a couple episodes ago talking about just working out and getting your mind and body in good shape and getting in tune with that and just kind of, for morale and everything. And I actually took my own advice and started working
Did we
out.
actually ever end up talking about that?
Mm-hmm.
We did?
Yeah. That was the outside episode.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
You probably fell asleep during that.
I probably did. And I usually fall asleep.
But I started I have a buddy of mine, Brandon Zalexon, put together a workout plan. He was a kinesiology major and trained a lot of professional athletes. And so I reached out to him where do I start? I haven't worked out in a couple years. Like I need to get back into it. And so he put together a little plan for me and actually hooked me up with some power blocks, some weights. So,
are you liking those?
Yeah, they work really well. They're a lot better than some of the other universal weights I've used. So
yeah,
definitely glad I was able to have access to those. And so did 2 weeks of this workout, feeling pretty good, starting to see some results. And then I had to have this procedure. And so now I can't lift for a couple of weeks. So
still trying to convince him that I need a reformer machine in there as well, or at home. Home might actually make more sense right now with the kids' schedule, but I'm still saying that it would pay for itself in a very short amount of time. Still got to work our way towards that.
Yeah, I have some reservations about that because the Peloton never got ridden. I rode the Peloton.
But I don't have a love for spinning the way I do for Pilates. It's different. It's different.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Just a quick disclaimer. The information shared on this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as financial, tax, or legal advice. Always consult with a qualified professional before making any financial decisions. Your individual circumstances may differ and require specific strategies not discussed here. Now, let's get back to the show. All right, so what are we talking about today?
We're talking about your business reboot. Midnight 30 Marketing is getting a little, I don't want to say rebrand, but just a reboot on kind of how you're running your business operations.
Yeah, so we've talked about the business being slow the last couple of years, and part of that was the economy. That's kind of what kickstarted it. But really, that's not all of it, and that falls on me too. Just having growing family and personal things going on, more kids, moving, rebuilding houses, taking, that during that time, I had a lot of things pulling me away from work. And I don't have help, so I've taken a lot more on, even though the business is slower. I started taking on more just because there wasn't enough work to hire somebody. I definitely kind of became overwhelmed, especially as things have started to pick up because I've taken on so much more. My work never really slowed down. It was just I was doing more of the work.
Yeah.
So my actual day was just as full.
And what you're doing is time consuming too. It's not like quick things where it's like your business was slow and you were sitting around. You were still, it still takes a lot of time.
It still takes a lot of time. So now that it's getting busier, I'm just becoming overwhelmed and just realizing I can't do it like I used to, because before we had kids, or when we had one kid, it was a lot easier to get up early, work super late, and get everything caught up and kind of
you'd be working till 11, 12 o'clock at night. Now you're
it's not even later. I think in 2020, when things really took off, and then 2021, was the biggest year. But that whole year I had no help at all.
Yeah.
I was a home business at that point. I didn't have any remote help or any employees or anything. And the business did almost 1.5 million in sales, but it was literally just me. And I would get up at like 5 a.m. I would work till like 2 a.m. I was sleeping like 3 or 4 hours a night sometimes. And it was just like I was working on the weekend to get caught up, and it was just not sustainable at all. And so I started hiring some help, somebody for bookkeeping and somebody to do like back end order entry. And I eventually got an office and ended up hiring some help there for fulfillment and shipping. But I was always hiring for tasks and hiring to delegate these different tasks. So really what I'm learning, and this is a book that I just finished reading. It's by Dan Martell, who's a big business leader and a business coach, and has really figured out how to utilize his time wisely. And it's called buying back your time. So buy back your time. And it kind of takes the whole building a business and getting people to run it idea and like turns it around. So it's really, instead of hiring like I was doing before when I got busy, hiring for certain tasks and delegating to people. Because even though I was delegating, I was still doing a lot of work managing those people and trying to like orchestrate and show them how to do everything. So even though like the busy work was off my plate at that point, I was still having to manage them. And so now I was taking on another role of training and managing constantly. And so,
and they weren't all sticking around.
And there was a lot of turnover. Yeah, there was a lot of turnover.
You're constantly training, which was very time consuming.
Yeah. So it just never really, and this is probably a fault of mine, but I've always been very anti-employee for a few reasons. One, when we were flipping couches and had the couch flipping business, we did start hiring people and ran into a lot of issues with employees.
Yeah.
At the time we were hiring people off of Craigslist, and that was kind of where we got our employees, and they weren't the
most reliable, honest, trustworthy.
Yeah, all of the above. There were some good guys that we got, but that definitely, I think all of our guys were in sober living at one point.
That weren't actually sober.
Yeah, we were paying minimum wage at the time was like $9, and so it was like that's all our business was able to afford at the time, and so that's what made sense. But it really left a bad taste in my mouth because of some of the bad experiences that we had, and we got sued by multiple employees for bogus workers' comp claims. It was like something stupid that and come to find out these employees had done this to other companies, and it was just kind of a recurring theme. So
not to mention we'd catch them doing things on the cameras.
Yeah. But it like shot up our workers' comp insurance, and it got really expensive. It really hurt the business by having the employees. And we never really, we thought we were going to hire all these employees. I think we had like 15 employees at one point.
Yeah.
Thought we were going to hire all these employees, and then we wouldn't have to be working in the business, and we'd have all this free time. That just never happened.
Because that also wasn't your main business at the time. The printing still was your main business.
Yeah, but that had nothing to do with it. In terms of like the amount of time I was still spending as much time working in the business.
Right. I'm just saying it still was never like your
you're right.
Only job. Like it was still like something else
Right, but we still had a schedule. Like I worked in the afternoons and that, and but I still just worked just as much. I never worked less.
Yeah.
I was always still working in the business because there was always something that needed to be done. So I had kind of a bad taste in employees, and then I was really adamant about not hiring direct employees because I didn't want all the workers' comp and all the employee, just all the hassle that comes along with that. But I think that what happened was I got the business up to $1.5 million in revenue, it's a decent size. It's not huge, but for for the industry that we're in, that's a decent sized one person operation. That's a huge operation for one person.
Yeah.
Like without actual employees, that's actually a pretty decent book of business. And but I think that I just couldn't really grow it anymore with the way that I was running it.
Mm-hmm.
And now that the business has been down the last couple of years and starting to build back up now, it's just an opportunity to kind of reboot and rebuild in a way that's going to be able to scale. Because I don't think I ever would have been able to scale much more than it was. Regardless of what happened in the economy, that was a little bit of a kickstart to the downward spiral. But I don't think that I would have been able to handle much more business just because there was so much busy work on my plate that it would have just been impossible to scale the way that I was doing it.
Yeah.
So now with this, the Martell method, as he calls it, with buying back your time, basically you are hiring to replace things that most entrepreneurs don't want to let go of, or it's like the last thing they let go of. And the idea here is that that's going to be your first thing. So just learning how to hire to buy back time and not hiring to delegate tasks like I was before. Like I hired a shipping person, I hired a person to do the books, I hired a person to do order entry. Like this kind of says that that's not the first thing that you do. That's secondary, third, whatever. The first thing that you need to do is hire to do your stuff that you normally wouldn't let go. So his idea, or what he's saying, is the first thing.
Very like not.
Yeah, it's just you never think that way. It is.
Yeah.
But he says the first thing that you should do is hire an administrative assistant to handle all your emails and your calendar and all those things that you would normally never hand over.
Time sucking.
And I mean, I'm at a point now where I've gotten so busy that I can't even keep up with my emails. Like I feel bad. I try to get all my client emails as soon as I can, but there's people that I'll miss. I'm missing a lot of emails, and they won't hear from me for a week or two because I just totally missed it. And I feel really bad because it's a disservice to my clients that have been loyal to me for years, and I'm just not able to keep up. And so, it makes sense when you really think about it. Like if there's somebody managing that and actually getting to those emails, I have so many things pulling me in so many different directions. I sit down to go through my emails and like, I get a phone call, I get this, I get that. It's just, there's so many things pulling me away. I just can't complete anything. So it makes sense. It's just a different way of looking at it and a different way of thinking, but it works. He's been very successful. So a lot more successful than I am. So I'm going to listen to his advice and really try to implement this whole concept of, buying back your time and taking all these things off my plate and hiring somebody to kind of manage all the stuff that I would normally not let go of. So
I think that's a good idea.
We'll see how this goes.
I'm interested to see how that's going to work, just finding the right person. And I think that's obviously a huge part of it.
Yeah. And this is not something that's just for a business. I mean, like for this business, we can use it for anything. We've got this business. We've got our co-hosting business that is starting to take up more and more time as we're taking on more properties. So this is something we can apply to that business as well and get somebody to handle all the stuff that, because I spend a lot of time, I get pulled away for the co-hosting. I get a lot of, leads and calls on properties and stuff daily, and that pulls me away from my other work. So that's starting to take up a lot of time too. So this is something that can be applied there. With the podcast, this is something that can be applied there with I'm still doing the editing and everything. Right. Like I probably shouldn't be doing that. So, and that's usually I do it late at night, but I'm up for a couple hours into the night editing podcasts. And it's just all these things that I could be paying somebody else to do to take this off my plate so that I can focus time on being more creative, building up one of the businesses and really focusing on growth rather than just getting sucked into a job, which is really what's happened. It's just, created a job for myself, multiple jobs. So, and you can apply this to your home life too, just things, chores around the house, laundry and, cleaning the house, getting a house cleaner, using we were talking about doing a fluff and fold service, and just all these things that like take up a lot of time. You can learn to buy back that
Outsource
time.
them. Yeah.
Outsource. Yeah. So, one of the things that he talks about, like, how do you figure out how much you can spend on this? Because, you got to make sure, if you're a small business, you got to make sure that you're not bankrupting yourself to try to do this.
I was going to say, because that's kind of the like catch-22 spot that we're in, where it's like, we don't necessarily have the funds to pay for someone, but at the same time, we're not going to get out of this kind of hole or be able to grow the business at all without expanding it. So It's that really tough situation. So how are you, because the employees last time, were they minimum wage?
No,
they were higher than that.
It was a temp agency. So
yeah.
I was paying a premium on top of their wages,
agency too.
Right? So,
but they were not very reliable. They were pretty lazy. And I mean, I think that's like, I hear that a lot in today's workforce too, that it is just hard to find people to work, but it'll just be interesting to kind of figure out how to pay them for a different role, because this is a different role than what we were doing.
Definitely
before.
hiring a higher caliber role than, so instead of hiring these lower end roles that just don't have a lot of responsibility, you're hiring basically an executive assistant first. You're hiring, it's a higher paying job, but it has a lot of responsibilities. So you're hiring that first, and they kind of take on a role that you would. So as you do start to hire other people, they're the ones doing the training, not you. So it's not pulling you away from your tasks. So that's the idea, is that you're not the one that's getting pulled away in all these different areas that need you here, need you there, need your email. You got calls coming in.
Right.
Somebody needs the training on this project. You got somebody else that just handles all of that. So you're able to just focus on growth and what really matters in building a business. So the buyback like rate, he calls it. So what's your buyback rate? And the way you calculate that is you figure out what the profit is of the company. So what you're paying if you're paying yourself a salary, it's whatever your salary is and the profit of the company. Basically add those together. So whatever your net benefit would be. And basically you just take 25% of that. So you're saying if you can take 25% of what you're making in the business and hire this administrative assistant to start with, that's going to give you, you can create 30 plus hours a week of free time by doing that.
Wow.
And he does say that no one's ever going to replace you and do anything as good as you. So don't have expectations that you're going to clone yourself.
Right.
But his concept is that, hey, if you can find somebody that does things 80% as good as you, or 80% as fast, or 80% as effective, that's pretty good. I think he says if it's 80% as good, then it's 100% awesome. But 80% is a pretty good, like, it's going to buy you a lot of time.
Yeah.
And it's well worth it, because even though you're giving up that 25%, to do that, you're buying back so much time that you can put back into the business, and you're going to grow your revenue, and you're going to get back tenfold down the road as you grow the business. And then as you grow, you have more profit. You increase your buyback, your buyback rate. So you've got more money to be able to hire somebody else to take on other parts of the business. So it just kind of keeps snowballing and building. So it's a backwards way of building the business. And I've just never thought of it that way. So I'm going to give it a try. And I think that it's going to work.
I think so too. It has to work, because nothing else is working.
Yeah.
It has to work. It's got to be helpful in some capacity.
I mean, I just tapped out on what I could do on my own. And I know now, having a family of 4, being a little older, not being able to, survive on as little sleep, like getting it back to where it was a couple of years ago is going to be even harder now.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to burn out. So then that's the other thing, is just burning out, just preventing yourself from burning out.
Yeah.
So I think this is a much more sustainable way of going about this and getting the business to survive and thrive and really be a long-term, income producing asset, really. So we'll see how that goes, but that's going to be a big focus. The second part of this year is just getting that business running smoothly and more efficiently. I mean, I've got like clients that I haven't, I'm doing collections calls, clients that aren't paying, and I'm not staying on top of it. So I've got an AR
So you're
that
not
just
getting
keeps
paid
building. So
either.
I'm not getting paid.
Yeah.
And I've got clients that aren't getting invoiced because I haven't invoiced things. And a lot of this I take on. I do have somebody that helps with some of the stuff, but they're not able to do all of the orders. A lot of the bigger orders I do because they're custom stuff, and they're just not getting invoiced in a timely manner.
Yeah.
So it's, I'm sure my clients don't like that because they get invoiced, a couple months later,
Right.
because I forgot or didn't have time to do it or whatever, and it just got sidetracked, and that's not good for the business cash flow when things aren't getting invoiced. So it's really hindering the business's ability not only to grow but just to survive because I'm not efficiently running it right now. So
Yeah.
so I think this will be a good service to my clients because I'll be able to have everything handled more efficiently and quickly. They'll get emails answered, not missed, get quotes faster, get orders processed on time.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to be some work to get it all put together and hire the right person and get everything kind of going in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be some training involved. So I'm going to have to train this person on everything. But, the idea is that you're really only training them once. So you teach somebody to do it once and then that's it. Like all the different tasks that have to get done, you teach them and, you record yourself with a video. And so you make a video of it, you log that, and if they have questions or forget or
They
need to
can look
reference
and
it, they can go
see.
back and watch the video. So you're not having to physically show them again. So it's kind of like a one and done thing on your training as you build out all these videos and all this training manual, if you will.
Yeah.
He calls it a playbook, but that's, and I've started to do that in the past. It was just for a different application. So I'm excited. I'm excited, a little nervous, not sure how it's going to work out, but I have a good feeling about going this route. And
I do too.
and I feel like I'm like re-energized about the business because I was just getting so burnt out. It's just like, do
Yeah.
I still want to keep doing this? Like, is this really working? But I have a clear vision of what I need to do to get the business running smoothly, and I'm excited to get it there. I'm like actually excited. I like building the business. I don't like working in the business so much. And I've just been getting burnt out because I've just got stuck in this rut of working in the business and not being like thinking I can't afford an employee, whether I can or not. But like I need to do that, make that investment to be able to get it to grow back to where it was and beyond. But I don't think I could get past the point where I was before doing it the way I was. Like this is going to help grow the company, 10 times what it was before, because now I'm not tapping myself out on time,
Right.
and I'm able to actually continue to grow the company. So I'm excited about this. But yeah, any entrepreneurs out there, if you've got a business and you're struggling with that and you're finding that you're just, spinning your wheels and you're working in the business too much. I mean, everybody knows you're not supposed to work in the business, you're supposed to work on the business, but that's easier said than done. Like, how do you actually implement that? And as an entrepreneur, it's so hard to give up control and give up things that you're like, I need to be doing this because nobody else is going to do it as good as me. Nobody else is going to do it right. Nobody else, like, I'm the only one that can do it. And that may be true to an extent, but like Dan says, if somebody else can do 80% as good as you, then that's like you're winning. You're way farther ahead because now you free up your time to grow the business 10 times, and you're going to be way farther ahead than if you just kept trying to do it yourself. So I just need to learn to let go, I guess.
Well, and for all the questions, because I get this all the time, it's like, well, is there something you can do to help him? And I mean, yes, I could, but that doesn't help our family situation anymore, our dynamic of trying to free up our time and buy back our time. If I'm in there working in the business too, then that doesn't make sense. So we get that question a lot of like, why don't you just help him? And no, that doesn't solve our problem at all, because it's still a position that while yes, you can work remote, there's still a lot that's demanding you to be physically in person and receiving shipments and fulfillment and things like that, where vacations are hard. It's, I don't know the last time we took a vacation that wasn't like a leaving on a Friday, back by Monday. And even then, the Friday and Monday, you're still very stressed about like the operation side of it with you not being
and trying
there.
to get to my emails and everything.
Yeah.
So just having somebody to run, and it does require, this is not something I can just hire VAs for. It's got to be somebody that's physically at the office, holding the fort down, keeping things going. There's enough hands-on stuff where it's just not.
Yeah.
And I have people that do order entry that are remote, but it's not something that I can have them do everything as if they were sitting right next to me or sitting in the office or just.
Or like you said, a lot more custom orders and things that are not just very like, it's not a one size fits all.
Right.
Hey guys, if you're finding value or just want to follow along on our journey, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. That would help us tremendously. You can also follow us on Instagram at The Broke Millionaires and be sure to share with your friends. Now let's get back to the show. Makes it a little trickier.
But I'm excited about this. This is not just our printing. I mean, this can apply to any business or anything in your life, really. So, I encourage you to this book is actually a pretty short book. Dan's got he has a podcast that kind of goes into different topics, and so you can kind of get an idea of his method. And this book's a pretty short book. I do audiobooks. I think it was like a 6-hour book, so it wasn't really that long, but it's probably one of the best business. I mean, I've read hundreds of business books and investing books, and this is probably one of the most impactful ones I've read in a long time.
Oh, okay.
Just like the amount of information on how to actually build your business. Because there's a lot of, I've tried like the 4-hour work week and all these different ideas and concepts. And I've implemented those. Usually when I read a book, if I can get one or two good things that help me be more efficient or help in some way, then that's usually a pretty good takeaway. But like the 4-hour work week I didn't feel like that really, I just couldn't implement any of that stuff. And it wasn't really, I mean, maybe if I had done this method, I would be able to get to a 4-hour work week, but it's just a different idea. And I just didn't, I will say the one thing I did take away from that is that I don't check my mail. That was one thing that with the 4-hour work week, it's like, you shouldn't be checking your mail every day. So now I just never check it at all.
Like someone else should be doing it for you, or
no, like
you're supposed to
you're supposed to batch it. You're supposed to just let it fill up and go through it once a month rather than
I
every
do
day.
that. That's right.
And I think I started doing that. Now I go through it like once every 6 months.
Yeah.
So I just have like stacks of mail. I'm like, I guess I got to go through this.
Yeah.
I hate going through mail, but by the time I get stuff, like it's months past and it's like, it doesn't even do any good. But yeah, so anybody that's got a business out there, if you're finding yourself just working tirelessly in the business, spinning your wheels and just not able to you want to grow and you know what you need to do to grow, but you don't have time to do it, you need to buy back your time and start replacing yourself with some of these tasks that take up a lot of time. And the first one is email.
Yeah.
You get thousands of emails a week and just sorting through half of it's all just junk from vendors and stuff that I don't need. And I try to like delete those or unsubscribe, but there's just so many of them that, one, I start to lose the important emails because they get kind of lost in that. And it takes time to go through all those and make sure you're not missing anything. But this can be applied to any business or anything. So I really encourage people to check out this book. Again, it's Buy Back Your Time. The author is Dan Martell. He's also got a podcast. He does a lot of training. He's a business coach. So he's got a really, really, really sought after and well-known business coaching program. And yeah, I'm really excited. I actually got turned on him by Rich. I think he was on Rich Summers' podcast and another podcast at the same time. And I'd never heard of him. And I started hearing everywhere all of a sudden. And we're in a mastermind now, and that's one of Rich's. And Dan is actually was a speaker in that not too long ago.
Yeah.
And so it was just like all these things in like a 1-week period. And I started seeing, and then of course, like I searched who he was or said the name or I don't know what it is, something. I watched a podcast or I watched a video with him or something. And then all of a sudden all my feed and everywhere. I just started seeing him. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna check this guy out.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I did. I think this will be transformational. At least that's what I'm hoping for.
It's the first time I've seen you excited about the business in a long time.
It's been a while. I've gotten pretty burnt out.
Yeah, you have. You've been working your butt off, and it's hard when you're working. So I tell you this all the time. It would be easier if you were not working so hard to be in the financial situation we're in, but it's really hard to see you working so hard and us still be in such a difficult situation currently. So
yeah,
I'm hoping that this will help.
Well, and hopefully this will help with the current financial situation, because I
too.
actually grow the business and like actually get it
profitable again,
profitable towards highly profitable again, and really spinning off a good profit at the end of the year. So So anyway, that's the latest and greatest with what's going on in our lives. But we'll be finishing up our studio the next hopefully this coming weekend. We'll get that all like put together and get everything all set up next week, and we'll start doing maybe we might even be able to start doing in-person interviews, which we haven't done before. We've always just done everything remotely, but we'll start doing remote interviews again and getting those on the schedule. So there's lots of those that'll be coming through, and then hopefully some in-person interviews. That'll be fun too.
Yeah, that'd be really fun.
And we're starting to get invites for other podcasts too. So we'll share those when those start dropping. But we're having fun with this, so we'll keep it going.
We are.
Yeah,
we are.
Anything else?
Oh, it's just a big week on the personal side with our kids. One starting kindergarten in 2 weeks. We have one starting preschool, and I love them so much. And I know I'm going to be a mess when they go to school, but I'm so ready at the same time.
Yeah, be ready, and then it'll help us like kind of focus on everything else, on the business and podcast, and just give us more time to be able to dedicate to this. Because right now, it's just the kids are just.
The kids are hard. They're very hard ages right now.
Yeah.
This is
in the summertime, just everybody's home all day long.
Summer has been tough. I will say officially, a summertime newborn is my least favorite time to have a baby.
All right. Well, we're not going to go down that road anymore, so it doesn't really matter anymore.
True. But for anyone else out there, if you, I know you can't always plan when that happens, but if you are planning, maybe your first one, it doesn't matter, but any subsequent children, I would say, don't try for a summertime baby would be my advice.
All right. It's about that time. I think you're ready for bed.
Sure am.
All right, guys, get out there and make it happen.
Thanks for listening. This has been a production of Rebuilding the Dream Studios.